Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I switched it up. I wanted to do something different. I wanted to touch base with you guys on something a little more personal to me and probably to a lot of other people. I wanted to give you guys some tips on how to handle depression. I know that there are so many women out there that suffer from emotional disorders or mental or physical disorders out there, but we don't speak on it because it almost seems taboo in a sense, and you're kind of embarrassed about it. But the whole idea is that it's nothing to be embarrassed about. It's not something that you are able to give or take away from yourself when you're born. It's something that you're either born with or you develop over time. And I've had clinical depression for a very long time, and it has been difficult navigating life with clinical depression, but I think that it helps when I hear other people talk about it. So I wanted to add into that culture and be a part of the solution, a part of fixing this and figuring out what ways we can help each other and move forward. So I got some tips. I think it's about 8 tips that have just helped me over the years, things that I still do when I feel myself getting into that place where I just don't want to be, you know? And sometimes I still fall, but the most important thing is that I get back up every single time and I push forward. I value my life. I value this life and the person that gave it to me, the being that gave it to me, and I just want to make sure that others do too, because so often I see women that are thinking about taking their lives away or wondering or questioning their reasoning on this earth, and I have been one of those people before, and I know what that feels like, and I know what sinking to the bottom feels like. And if I can touch one person and talk to one person, that just makes me a million times happier. So either way, let's get right on into the tips, right? So the first thing I have is to figure out who your support system is. Figure out who, what, how, where, and why you need these people in your life. For me, my biggest support system when it comes to depression is my mom. She's dealt with it with me since I was a teenager, and when I was officially diagnosed with clinical depression, we dealt with that together, and it was hard, but I know that she knows my heart inside and out, and it's touching because that's someone that I can trust. And when I'm calling to say, hey, I just don't feel well, I don't need to go into the whole thing. They know me, they know my personality, and they're not afraid, you know, to deal with what's to come. My friends, I have a couple friends that are just great at getting me out. I have one friend who she's amazing. Like, she really is amazing. You guys just have no idea. I love her completely, but she knows me and she knows my limits. And when I'm not feeling good, she knows how to push, how and when to push and when not to. So with depression, it's hard to get out of a funk. So if people want to go out, I don't want to go. I generally don't want to go. It's not that when I get there I'm not going to have a good time, but the idea of getting ready, putting on makeup, it's a lot and it's hard to explain, but if you know, you know. So it's a push, and she would push me when she knew that I just needed to get out the house, but I just needed to get there first. So if there was a party coming up or a social event and I'm like, I don't really want to go, she knows that when I get there, I'm gonna have that good time, but, right? I just got to get there first. And then when I'm there, I'm so happy to be there. I'm so happy that I'm seeing all my friends and close sisters, but it just took so much to get there. And she doesn't get tired, she doesn't get exhausted, she doesn't get frustrated or angry. And if I'm adamant that I just don't want to go, she'll see it in my face and she won't push anymore. And having that support system that knows you is so key to this journey, because no one can do it alone. One of my closest friends told me that friendship is essential to the soul. That is their motto for their fraternity, and it is so true, a million times true. I believe when he told me that, I was just like, oh, words of wisdom. Friendship is essential to the soul. It really is. And relationships are essential to the soul, and I think that we need those relationships to get by in life. And as long as you are contributing to the friendship, I think that that is what makes it a relationship. The next tip that I have is to reduce stress at all costs. Did y'all hear me? Reduce stress at all costs. Yes. Reducing stress at all costs. Guys, when I tell you that if something is stressing you out that you do not have to deal with, and I mean like work, you need to go to work. If it's stressing you out, well, you're gonna have to figure that one out. But if it's something that just does not need to be in your life, just remove it. Remove it. Don't be scared. Just get rid of it, let it go, and move on. There's so many things that I realize that I don't need in my life, or people that I don't need in my life, like at all. And sometimes you feel like, oh, I'm just gonna miss this relationship. But if it's stressing you out, sometimes you gotta take a break. You don't even have to just say, oh, I'm not dealing with this ever again. You just gotta take a break, you know? This coffee is so good. And I think that it's so worth it for your mental health to just take a break and be yourself and know when things are stressing you out to a point that's not healthy, and okay, say I'm just gonna take that step back. The next tip I have is to improve your sleep hygiene. So when I say that, I mean, if you know that you are someone that just can't get to sleep, I am that person. You gotta figure out what puts you to sleep. Recently, well, not recently, I love to read, and I read before bed or while I'm in bed. That helps me get to sleep the quickest. With depression, sometimes you can stay up and up because your thoughts are running and they don't stop, and you're kind of mulling over whether something was your fault that day and whether you did this or whatever it is. You got to learn what is your triggers. So if electronics are your trigger, turn them off. If TV is your trigger, turn it off, right? You got to learn to, if you need a shower before you go to sleep, if you need to have some tea before you go to sleep, figure out a sleep regimen for you that works best. Because sleep really does cure everything. I always say, if the day is just not going right, go to sleep. Go to sleep, wake up to a new day. And a new day for me is always a reset to be a better person than I was yesterday. To work on something different than I did yesterday. So get some sleep, guys. It's so important. The next thing I have is to figure out mood changing foods. So if you are eating something and you just don't feel good, and I'm a foodie, I love to eat, I love food, just point blank, period, okay? I love food, but I've noticed that certain foods have triggers on me that I do not like, okay? And you gotta learn that. You gotta listen to your body. If you eat this substance and you just kind of get like, oh, certain things can kind of, so if it's a filling food and you feel like, oh, I'm so full, then you start to get tired, then you start to mull over thoughts. You gotta take that into consideration. Take some time to really think about that and really say, is that something I really want to deal with? For me, I also have heartburn really bad. So for me, I was drinking, I love orange juice and cranberry juice, but they both give me severe heartburns. And that's because I have like a whole other issue with like acid, but I can't drink those, and I've cut them out of my life completely. I don't drink orange juice unless it's watered down. I like put half orange juice, half water, but ultimately I just don't drink it. It's just not worth it. It hurts, and you just gotta listen to your body. The next tip I have is to learn how to halt negative thoughts and to learn how to stop the negative thoughts, but also learn how to identify them. So when I first started getting depressed, I was not able to identify the depression. I wasn't able to identify the spiral effect that would take me deep into this sinking hole that never ended, and it just got so bad. So for example, if my mom said, "Oh Nia, why didn't you do this today?" About 5 hours later, I'd be watching TV and something, whatever it is, triggered a thought where I was like, well, maybe I'm not good enough, or why didn't I clean the dishes? You know, it makes no sense, but it's in chemical imbalance, so it shouldn't make sense, right? So you start to question yourself, you start to question who you are and who people are, and you start to feel like you can't trust anyone. But you gotta be able to identify that as for what it is, right? You gotta say, okay, this is the depression talking. I need to move. I need to get up, maybe get active, maybe go talk to the person that you had that negative thought about. I find that so helpful. So for me, if I'm saying, oh, my mom kind of said this, I would just go back to my mom, kind of get a good vibe from her, and that would just make me feel a million times better, because I've talked to the person that I've had this negative thought about that probably just doesn't make sense. It didn't make sense when it went through my mind, and that person loves me severely, and I'm making it up. I'm making it up, right? And identifying that thought and saying, okay, no, that's not me. That's not what's going on right now, and I'm not gonna let it take over my day, because if you harp on it, it will take over your day. I'll share something very personal with you guys. The first time, the day that I was diagnosed with clinical depression, I had come from a whole, I think maybe 7 to 13 days of just silence. I sat in my room. I did not do anything. I did not shower. I did not do anything. I didn't move. It was debilitating. It was embarrassing. It was scary. And you're in there, right? Trying to claw your way out. You know this is not you. You know that, but you can't let it go. And it's just so hard, you know? But through going to therapy and working on it, you get to a point where you are able to identify what's going on and move forward. Next thing I have is to beat procrastination. And procrastination is something that just innately comes with depression. I'll be honest with you guys. Everything for me can be a chore. Getting up is a chore. Going to the shower is a chore. Getting to work is a chore. All of those things I do every single day. To take a shower, I have to prepare myself for about 25 minutes. Getting up, I have to prepare myself the night before. And when I wake up, I can't just wake up, get up. I have to wake up and have some time to just sit there and prepare myself to get up. It is huge signs of depression. And you gotta work with where you're at. Don't just force yourself to be like, oh, well, it's not gonna work that way. At least it didn't for me. give yourself some time, give yourself some leeway, and say, okay, this is how I work my life out. Maybe just give yourself 30 extra minutes. There's no rush for me to get in the shower. I will get there, right? I don't need to feel rushed. I'll get there, right? I get to work every day on time. I haven't missed a day, but when I wake up, the first thing I do is not hop out of bed. I gotta sit there and talk to myself, motivate myself. Whatever you do to motivate you is what helps me. Don't let people determine your thoughts so early on, you know, in the day. Do what feels best for you. And sometimes it's not procrastination, sometimes it's just motivation. But when you find yourself not being able to do those things, I know I've talked to some women who are not even able to get in a shower, and I know what that feels like. I know what it feels like when women are not able to get up and clean. I know what it feels like when women are not able to get to work. I know what that feels like, and I empathize and sympathize with them, but I know they're gonna get better. It gets better. The second to last thing I have is to get a handle on your place, your space. And what I mean by your space is a direct representation of who you are and how you feel. I do a lot of things disorganized, but I do get it done. But the reason that I do it in such a disorganized fashion is because my mind is all over the place. I'll wash a couple dishes and I'll sweep the floor, go back and wash the rest of the dishes, but they get done, right? They get done. Make sure that your house makes you, your home makes you happy. And if it doesn't, you gotta change it up. I do believe in that chi that people talk about, the sway of the room, the feel of the room. I do believe in that. So make your space, your home, when you walk in, be comfortable, be happy. Let your space fill you with joy. And if it's not, you gotta figure out why and figure out what you can do to change that. And the last tip I have is to kind of just create a wellness box, right? And it doesn't have to be literally. It can be mentally, or it can be literally. If having a piece of chocolate helps you feel better, have that piece of chocolate. If cuddling with your pets make you feel good, cuddle with your pets. If talking to your mom on the phone for an hour helps you feel better, you gotta do that. Do what makes you happy. And talking to your friends, make sure that in this life you don't forget about the people that love you dearly. And I say that so sincerely because depression is the worst. And I had a teacher tell me that she was like, oh no, you're not depressed. What did she say? You're just focusing on something for too long. I don't believe clinical depression is really a thing. I just believe that we all suffer from grieving. And I was just like, wait, what? No, there were tests run on my mind that showed that I had a chemical imbalance in my brain that sometimes does not allow the same things as a normal person who would have those receptors touching or whatever it is, right? And I kind of just laid that all bare because I got so upset because that's the issue. People telling you what you do and what you don't have. People telling you, oh, you'll be all right. It's gonna be okay. That makes you want to withdraw, close up, and not talk to them ever again, right? But don't do that because people are ignorant and they just don't get it. But I just wanted to do this video for you guys because this is something that was near and dear and on my heart when I woke up this morning. Why am I not in focus? Oh. Okay. But it's near and dear to my heart, and I woke up with it on my chest and in my mind this morning, and I wanted to just get it out and talk to you guys about it. If you guys know anyone that's suffering from clinical depression, please be a shoulder to lean on. Understand that it is not something that they are doing intentionally, but make sure that you remind them of their reason and remind them that they are loved and cherished and amazing. So I love you guys, and I will see you guys in my next video. Thanks, guys. Bye.